So you also mentioned looking for these signs about people's behaviors that have the domestic violence tendencies, right? Not just understanding why they are the way they are and how you want to be there for them. But do you think that you saw red flags along the way that you ignored, that you could have saved your husband if you like recognized it?
Don't know if I could have saved him, but maybe when I realized, like, I didn't know that he was certified, but when I realized he was crazy, right, for myself, I got away from him, and he actually stalked me for 6 years. So I knew, yeah,
Because I
yeah, I
know a lot of
knew,
times we get into these relationships and we want to be that person for them, right? We want to be
yeah,
the one that makes the
that
difference
could
that right,
help fix him
exactly.
or whatever, yeah, and it's unfortunate. There was a lot I didn't know while we were married. A lot of stuff came out after, including that I was apparently some sort of lick for him, meaning the woman he was married to when he met me, he told her that he had met KiaJeffries, to put it in your mouth girl, and that he was gonna get me for my money, basically, and for her to just chill and let him date me and just get money from me or whatever.
Wow.
Um,
So then he
so
ended up getting divorced to marry you?
he did. So it was kind of like a play. Like, so he said that to her so that she would be okay with him running around with me. Uh, but he really was running around with me because he was infatuated with me. He was a fan of the Put It in Your Mouth. He was a fan. He told me that the day we met. He said, "Oh, it was either you or the girl singing, doing it and doing it well. I had to get with one of you bitches. I said I was going to put a baby in one of y'all." And that's what he did.
So what was your reaction when you found out that he was already married?
I broke up with him. I told him I didn't want to see him anymore. I told him I don't do married men. It's not fair. Because he lied and said he was divorced. And then I found out that that was a lie and that he was actually legally still married.
Wow.
And I left him alone. And he kept chasing me and kept telling me that he was going to get a divorce and he loved me, kept buying me rings. And he made her call me and say that, yeah, they're not together and we're going to get a divorce. And it was crazy. But yeah, I kind of fell for it. I I was I was caught up, you know.
Do you think that there was something in your life, in your childhood, that made you, maybe the fact that you didn't have siblings and you felt like this loneliness, that you wanted that companionship or something, that made you accept that?
I also, yeah, I definitely wanted protection. I'm still looking for it. It's protection for me as an only child. And then my dad was not the most protecting dad, if that makes sense. I had a boyfriend when I was in my teens, and he ended up putting his hands on me and stuff. And I went to my dad, and he put hands on me, and then he stole my car, and he drove off in my car in the neighborhood. So I called my dad, and me and my dad went kind of looking for him, and we finally saw the car, and we get out and we confront him, and I'm thinking my dad's gonna beat this nigga's ass, right? But my dad is like trying to talk to him, and I'm like, what's that, Dad? Like, what are we doing? And he's like, well, I don't want him to. And I just always felt like, who's going to protect me? And, he was a boxer. And in those early days, like we were Bonnie and Clyde, and we were, he was like my best friend. Um,
Mm.
and, we were getting money together, and he protected me. Like anytime anything was weird or crazy, he was the first person. I remember this cab driver got crazy one time. Um, I forget why or whatever, but I know he was like, just go in the building, just go in the building. And the next thing I heard, oh, whoa, no, 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 and I was just like, oh shit, damn. I was like, damn. I peeked around the corner. I was like, oh, damn, okay. So yeah, and I never experienced that. I had never had anybody that made me feel like protected like that. Like, oh, they can go with me to these shows and make sure that they pay me up front. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't having it. and it was interesting. So yeah, that definitely played a part into how I ended up with that type of a guy.
So in a way, it was like you were looking for your dad to hold you down, to like really like show that assertiveness, and you're not gonna do that to my daughter, like, and then
Yeah,
and when that didn't happen, it was almost like in your life you were looking for that feeling of protection and for you to not feel helpless in a way,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and not really knowing that I was looking for it, but yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
interesting how like these things that happen to us, they manifest themselves in our lives, and they affect our behaviors and our real desires, and
Absolutely.
we're not always cognizant of that, right? We're not aware of like the reason
Yeah,
why.